Okay, so here's where we left off. This is the second video. So now I'm gonna go to the next page, and here's another example of a framing plan, a framing plan. It gives you all the members, how the spacing between them, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you actually can also see it at in your book. You can read over in your book. Okay, there's another one here. Okay, just how the members are gonna go and connect and so on. Okay, I guess here it's easier for us to picture. This is where the ridge is, and this is with where our valley is, and here there's another valley right here. Okay, and then this is another ridge. And I'll show you a picture right now. It's gonna make more sense. You can also find information, for example, on the edge. This is the fascia, in which I'm gonna go over it with an actual picture of a house, which sure makes more sense. Now here, it just talks about different roofs. The next section of the book talks about different roofs. Again, this is going to vary depending on the style that you want to build your structure, the view you want to give it. Just keep in mind that for every different type of roof, they have to frame it a little bit different. For example, this is a shed roof, and here it's like a partial, simplified building section. So you have your studs going up here, like I showed you a while ago on that image. See those studs right there, and then double plate right there. Well, you can see them now. Oops, where is it? Here. See, these are the studs going up. Those are your double plate right there, right there, right there, and right there. And then you see the rafters, how they come and sit on top of that one, top of that one. This one it has a connection there. It sits on top of this one and sits on top of this one. Okay, so whenever you're designing your roof, you have to take into consideration how are you going to support that roof. Okay, so in this case, the weight is coming down through here, through there, through there. Okay. So this is a partial, this is a shed roof. So keep that in mind when you're doing different types of roof. You can do whichever design you want. Just keep in mind that you need to provide the support that it needs. Or again, you're not gonna you might not actually build it, but you have to have an idea of how it's gonna work. Because if structurally it's feasible, your design you might need to change it, and you might not want to do that because it is your design. Also, you can find here more information. For example, your insulation, you can also show it here on like a building section. The insulation that goes in between the rafters, that goes in between the joists. Um, this one has vents here. Your gutter is drawn there. Your fascia is right here. Um, and then different roofing materials, the sheathing, and so on and so forth. You can also find that information about the roof on, and again, this is an example of a building section of a shed roof. Okay, so in this next area, it just talks about different roof types or designs. Roof types. Okay, so this one it's a flat, and you have to show how the water is going to drain. So in this case, you can see down there with an arrow, it's sloping down that way. This is sloping this way, and then sloping down that way, and this one is sloping down to the back. So on the roof plan, you have to show how you're going to slope your roof for drainage purposes. Okay. Now in this case, these are flat, so there's nothing there, just like a flat, and I'll show you a picture of that. Let me just go through again. It's another one here. This is a gable, and then this one is just have a long ridge from one point to the other. One is going down that way. One is going down this way. Now this one is the same thing, but now you have another structure that meets with it. So when it meets, it creates a valley. So these two are valleys. Okay, and just by seeing that section right there, you know that there's a connection. This one going deeper down and connecting. Okay, so the overhang here, if you see it, it's a lot less than the overhang here, and because this is where the gable is, so that's the reason for that. There's a gable right here. I'm not gonna go through each one of them. You can read on that, but you can read on that. What I'm gonna do instead, and it has some images of how the roofs are in elevation or in picture. So, but of course, in your case, you're gonna have to design it, and so something like that, um, uh, it's gonna be drawn differently. So this is, see how it's different, the way it's drawn. This partial building section. So you need to understand more or less, okay, not to perfection, but more or less how it's gonna be built. So again, you put whatever roof you want, whatever roof design you want, but just keep in mind you have to provide some sort of knowledge of how you're gonna connect it. Okay, this is a hip roof. Hip going up, hip. These two meet. You have a ridge, and then hip and hip. Water goes down that way, or not water, but the slope is going that way, that way, that way, and that way. Okay, let me see what else we have here, and then you have more pictures here. This is a combination of hip and gable. This going up like that is considered a hip. That is considered a hip, and then this section right here, that part, that's considered a gable. Okay, and you can see some more examples here. And you can read this on your. These are dormers. All right, a dormer right there. So you can have that look if you wanted to. It's your design, okay? But make sure you draw it correctly on your roof plan and have an understanding of how you're gonna have those connections. Okay, and then, but before we move into the different materials, I'm gonna bring another image in. And this is very simple, and I just found the simplest that I could, so it'll be easier for us to see. And here you can see how you have different types of roofs, and a very simple way of seeing it. Hip, it goes up, and all areas. That's a dormer. Gable, this is what a gable is. Okay, so the difference between this one and that one, see this one, it's coming down. So you have your fascia going straight like this, and this one picks up and drops, and this one comes and continues. So that goes up like that, that goes up like this. Now, could this be? Can you change this into a hip when you're drawing it? Of course, you just draw a line here and then pull it up like that, so it looks like this. Can you make this one into a gable? Sure. Get rid of that. Pull this line out straight, and now it goes up and down. Okay. So just look through these. I mean, you can do a research on them, and to get a better understanding of it, just by reading and just doing your own research. Flat roof, just you have to give it a pitch, and the water is going to go out, down one side. You have your shed roof. So cross hipped, again, here it might be easier to see. That's a hip. See how they meet up? That's a hip. That's a ridge, and this meet down. That's a valley right there. Okay, so just do your research read on your book and do a research on the different roof types, so you can get an understanding of the different options you have. And you can make a combination between two or three of these. It doesn't have to be just one. Okay. And then the last part of the book, before we're going to see some houses, talks about different materials you'll find there. Shingles. You can have shingles. You can have clay or clay tile roofs or cement tiles. You can have wood shakes. You have, it will be metal. Depends on the look you want to give, and actually there's now a lot more green materials that you can use on your roof. Depends on the look you want to give it. Depends on the region, but just keep in mind that you need to provide the structure for the roof material you're going to use. For example, if you're going to use shingles, okay, they're heavy but not as heavy as if you were going to use clay tile roof. So you need to prepare your structure for the weight that material is going to bring into the structure. Okay, so keep that in mind from the beginning. So it's not a matter of just adding a hatch or drawing it. Okay, you're going to put shingles, and then you say, okay, no, you know what, I'm going to put clay tile roof instead. I'm just going to tell it it's going to be clay tile, and I'm done. Well, keep in mind it's a lot more weight coming down, so you need to provide the support for that weight. And also the weight's installed, it's a little bit different. So you need to keep that into consideration. Okay, but since this is an intro course, we're not going to go too much in depth. And it shows you here in the book, shows you how to draw the different materials, how to label them, and so on and so forth. So you can read on that. And again, you can use whichever material you want. Just make sure you understand the process of construction at a minimal, if anything, so you know how that's going to be built, and so you can provide the support or the yeah, the support, the structure support that material might need to actually be on your structure. Okay. And here you have more samples. Okay, so I'm going to stop right here. Well, actually, also, I'm sorry. Any other non-structural materials? If you have vents, you have to show them. Chimneys, you have to show that. Skylights, if you're gonna have some skylights in your house, you can show that, like here, skylight. It's right there, so you can have light coming in. There's a chimney. Uh, there's some solar panels. There's some downspouts. So those are not structural um, materials. In other, they're not providing support of any sort, but they're there, so you have to show them too. Okay, so whatever you have there, you're gonna show. And then the ventilation and access, again, like I told you, you have to make your house breathe. You have to have some ventilation on your attic. Okay, you want to have air go through it. Now, what I'm going to show you now, and it's going to be the last part of this video, it's going to be just for us to go and see some houses. Let me bring this in. And what I did, I just went to Google Maps, and now we have this. We had it for a while. Great tool for us to start looking into roofs. Okay, the way you do your roof plan, it's like if you were actually seeing it from the top. Okay, so you have your roof plan here. You have your if you see it, this is actually how you see a roof plan. You see it from the top. Okay, so I went to the subdivision. I don't know exactly where it's at. Where I know it's here in Mission, on Cherry, but this will give us a very, very good understanding how to read roofs. Okay, remember all these lines? Let me see where they are. See all these hips and ridges and so on. If they don't make too much sense now, see how that, like, how does that look? Okay, if we go to Google Maps, we can see a bunch of houses, and we can study them more. Okay, so on the roof plan, you only see the actual roof, which will be that line. We don't see the wall because the wall's a little bit inside of it. There's an overhang, and I'll show you in elevation right now. But this will help us very, very. It's going to be very helpful for us to understand and understand the roof, the different roofs. Okay, for example, in this one, remember where I told you about hips, ridges, and valleys. See how the highest parts of the house, which will be that one. Actually, this is the highest part. But like that section, that line, this line, that tiny line, this line, that line, and that line. Those are the hips. I'm sorry. Those are the ridges. Okay? The hips are the ones that go up, they meet up. See how this is going up this way, up that way, they meet on this line. That's considered a hip. The one that meets down, this is coming down, where they meet, that creates a valley. Okay? So again, valley, hip, ridge. Hip, valley, ridge, hip, ridge, hip, and so on and so forth. Okay? Now, I'm going to go to this street. Let's see if it lets me. There we go. Again, I don't know where this house is. But like I told you, you can also find information about the roof from the elevation. So here you can see the material of the roof. All right? Now we can see from this one that the roof has different heights. See this plate height? It's lower. This one is higher. This one seems to be a little bit higher. This one is lower. Okay. Also, we don't see the wall from the roof plan because there's an overhang. This is considered an overhang. How much it goes up from the structure to the end. That's an overhang. Now this is going to vary. It could be 18 inches. It could be less. It could be more depending on the style and also the region. And regional, I mean by this is that in areas where there's a lot of sun and heat, you might want to have like in ranch style homes. The overhang gets a lot steeper, a lot further out, so it provides more shade on the windows. So again, it has a purpose. All right, so and then this right here is considered, these are um, gables. See how it goes up and down? That's a gable. That's a gable. That's a gable. Okay. And now this is your fascia right there. That's your fascia. That piece of wood is called a fascia. And then what's underneath, which is right there in between, that when it goes in, that's your soffit. Those are where the vents go. The structure is gonna breathe through there, but actually they're gonna be more on this lower end. Let's see, where do we have here? Let me see if we can find hip. There you go. Perfect example. See how that one was a gable? Now this is a hip. I went too far. Back there. See how this is not going up like the other one? This is not going up like the other one. This is going back with the shingles. This is a hip. Okay, now we look at this one. We have a plate height here. This one is higher. That one is higher. And drawing, whoever drew this on the plans, they will put plate height, whatever, plate height, whatever that might be, and plate height, whatever that might be. Okay, now this is interesting because this house has hip, and then there's like a flat roof up here. So let's go and look at it. And here we go. So like what I told you, you can let me just go back and go to map, and then go back to satellite so we can see it. There we go. This is the house. So you see how they have the combination here of hip, and then they have a flat roof here, sort of. You can do that. It's your design. You can do that. Look at this one. This is a flat roof. On flat roofs, you could do it. Depends on the view you want to give. Yes, you have to keep in mind these are flat roofs, so you need to provide drainage of that water. This one is easy. Well, not that it's easy, but as it rains, the water is going to flow down. This one, since you have some sort of flat roof and you have a parapet, what a parapet is like a false wall that goes a little bit higher. Okay, like if you, I'll go back to this one in a bit. You don't see the roof. Okay, it seems like the roof is on top of the parapet, but it's not. And just do a research on parapet. See here, you see a shadow. That means there's like a tiny wall here that which doesn't allow you to see the actual roof. So just do a little research on a parapet wall. Okay, roof parapet wall, and you understand exactly what I mean. This is a flat roof, and I'm gonna go a little bit faster because I want to finish. On this one, you have to provide, also think about, if you're gonna have flat roof, how are you gonna get the water out? Okay, this one seems to have parapets everywhere, so the water, just by seeing here, and by you can see there how the water flowed there. Water is flowing that way. Water's flowing that way. It leaves that stain there. And then you see this kind of like a ramp sort of thing. It's called a cricket. Okay, so my guess is that there's a scupper here and here. Okay, maybe some downspouts. I don't know. We'll look at the elevation right now. So when it rains, the roof, this part of the roof, this section here is sloping towards the left. So when it rains, the water goes that way. It goes that way. Now this cricket, what it does, and this one is probably sloping down like that, and this one from this corner is sloping down this way, that's going to force the water to go through that scupper. So it's like a tiny ramp, we want to call it that way, or little slope that forces the water to drain, and that's what you want. You don't want to have any water, especially on roofs that have parapet walls. You don't want to have any water up there. If you do, then you have a lot of issues coming your way. Okay, so if you want to use a flat roof, keep that in mind. Okay, so I'll just go around and look at the different roofs so you can get an idea and just practice. Okay, which one is a ridge, which one is a valley, and then do what I'm going to do right now. Here, there's another combination here, a roof, and it seems like this is like a gable. Okay, and then here too, this is flat, and there's like a hip roof somewhere here on the same house. Let me look at this. Let's look at this house. Oops, it was not built yet. Let's look at this one. Perfect. See how here you cannot see the actual roof? Well, that's because this the roof is probably somewhere here. In this case, if you were doing the elevation for this type of house, you would have to put a hidden line showing how the pitch is sloping of the roof. And let me go a little bit, see if I can see it from this side. No. See, from here, I'm assuming that this roof is sloping down towards the back. I thought it was sloping to the left, but it was not because I don't see any scuppers here. So that means the water is flowing towards the back. That's a scupper right there. See, so when it rains, this section here, when it rains, the water is slow, it goes through that surface and then it goes out through here. I think it has it on the other side. There you go. These right here are scuppers, and I'm sure you have seen them. It's hard to see. It gets pixelated right there. So when it rains, this section here, the roof, it's sloping towards the right or towards this wall, so the water is forced to go through there. And then this section here also is sloping this way, like this, from that point to this point. Of course, I'm exaggerating, but in reality, it's like from somewhere there to here. So the water slopes, and it's forced with crickets to exit through there. Okay. So I didn't mean to be or to talk too much on these videos, but it's very, very, very interesting. Just go online, do your own research. Best thing to do if you want to see more or get more ideas on different types of roof and how they get built, just drive around or go on Google and just look at them, or go on around some neighborhoods and start looking at them. Look, about crickets, here you can see a lot better. See how this is, it has like a level, this right here is a cricket, and when it's white you can't see it, and this is flat. So when it rains, the water is forced to go down that way, that way, that way. And the parapet is this section right there. That's a parapet. Okay. Okay. So this is chapter 9. Maybe it went too long, but just know that you can find information about the roof in different plans. You can do the roof whichever design you want that pertains to your idea, and also for the region. And region, what I mean is, like, for example, you're gonna do a house here, let's say in the valley. You don't have to worry about snow. You don't have to worry about maybe a lot of heavy rain. But you're gonna build some, or let's say somebody hires you to do a plan that's gonna be built in upstate, up north, maybe in, I don't know, Montana, or in a state that snows a lot during the winter. Then you have to consider the codes, because there might be a lot of weight coming down on that roof. So that's what I mean when it varies in the region. Okay, so you have to be aware of those things. So just I guess drive around. See, this is like a shed roof. Let's see how that looks. There you go. Let's see how it looks from here. A shed roof right here, sort of. Okay, so drive around, look around, and try to get familiarized with different roofs and roof systems, and then do your work for this chapter. I'm gonna do a video later on on how to draw the roof for the house that you guys are working on, and we're gonna do a gable / hip roof for that one. Okay, so I'll stop here, drive around, look around, read more on it. But very interesting how to design your roofs. And again, if it's hard for you to visualize at first, just keep at it. After a while, you'll train your eye. Whenever you see a roof plan, you know exactly how it's gonna look. All right. So I was gonna show you one more thing, but let me see if I can find an example. Yes, I can. Right here. That will be the last thing I'm gonna show you or go over. I promise. All right. So let me take it back to map. So it flips it, and then we go back to satellite. And the example was where I lost it. No, it's not that one. I'm just trying to show you. Well, you can do with this. When you're drawing your plan, and I think we saw it somewhere here in your book. I just want to, so you can visualize it. Where is it? Here it is. See how I mentioned in the previous video, that we can, just by seeing it, we can see that this section is higher than this one. Okay. You will draw it as you see it, and here we have an example. See how this section here, it's higher than this section right there. So that's how you would draw it too. Just picture it. In other words, I just want you to be aware of it. If you have a two-story home, of course you're gonna see the roof, and this one too. See, actually this is a better example. See, this is the roof for the first floor, or the section of the first floor, and then this one is the roof for the section of the second floor. So you have to draw it as you see it here. See how this hip dies here, probably dies at the wall, is very similar to what we have here, that hip dying at the wall. Okay, so again, just research, look at it, think about it, and you'll be fine. Okay, what is this? Okay, I don't know how that came about. All right, so that's it on roofs. And read chapter 9, do the questions and the problems. I'm going to open them soon, and well, they should be open by now. And then I'll do a video on how to do your roof, how to draw it. All right, so good luck, have some fun.